Hello and welcome back to Children's Reading Cove. This is Chapter 2 of Pixie Tricks, Sprite's Secret. Chapter 2, Sprite's Story. Hurry up, put your sweater on. We must go. We've got to get started, Sprite said. He flew away from Violet. Violet picked up her sweater and put it on. Wait a minute, she thought. I can't believe I'm actually listening to a fairy. Stop, Violet called out. Sprite made a quick turn in the air and zipped back to Violet. We can't stop, Sprite said. It's too important. Violet put her hands on her hips. I'm not going anywhere with you, she said. Not until you answer some questions. Sprite sighed. He flew down and landed on a rock. Then he folded his wings behind him. I thought you said your name was Violet, Sprite said. Violets are supposed to be quiet and shy. You're very loud, you know. Violet frowned. My name is Violet because of my eyes. Sprite flew up to Violet's face. He blew a strand of dark hair away from her eyes. I see, Sprite said. Your eyes are purple. Not like violets at all, though. More like gooseberries. Violet brushed Sprite away. Never mind about my name. Why is my world in danger? Excited, Sprite fluttered his wings. It's just terrible, you see. Yesterday, some fairies escaped from my world. Your world? Violet asked. You mean in the oak tree? Sprite shook his head impatiently. The oak tree is just a door to my world, Sprite said. I live in the other world with other creatures like me. You call us fairies or pixies. You mean like fairyland? Violet asked. Yes, Sprite said. That's where I live. But some fairies escaped. Now they're here in your world, and I've got to bring them back. What's the big deal about fairies escaping? Violet asked. You don't look very dangerous to me. Well, these fairies are dangerous, Sprite said, and they don't all look like me. There are 14 of them. They're all different, and by now they're probably making a huge mess of things, so we've got to find them right now. But Violet still wasn't convinced. Why do you have to catch these fairies all by yourself? Violet asked. Sprite puffed up his chest. He pulled a round medal from the bag that hung around his waist. He showed the medal to Violet. I am a royal pixie tricker. The queen chose me herself. Now, do you have any more questions, or can we go? Violet looked closely at the medal. One more question, Violet said, holding up her hand. What's all this about a queen and you being a royal pixie tricker? And why do you need my help? The queen said I would meet an 8-year-old girl. She told me to ask you for help, Sprite said. I'm not sure why. She said something about an old rhyme. Can't you remember? Violet asked. Sprite's wings fluttered impatiently, It's too long, Sprite said, and it doesn't matter. I found you, didn't I? So let's go. He tugged on Violet's purple sweater. Not yet, Violet said. Not yet? What is it now? Sprite asked. I can't just leave, Violet said. I'm supposed to be playing in my backyard. Violet pointed to the big yellow house in front of them. My Aunt Anne is inside, Violet said. It's Saturday. She always watches me when my parents work on the weekend. So tell Aunt Anne you have to go out, Sprite said. She'd never let me go running off with a fairy, Violet said. But this is important, Sprite said. I'm sure she'll understand. Violet shook her head. How could I tell her about you? Violet asked. She wouldn't believe me. I'll go introduce myself then, Sprite said. No, Violet cried. She grabbed him by his tiny foot. She'd hit you with a fly swatter, or flush you down the toilet, or worse. Boo-hoo-hoo, no help for you. Violet jumped at the sound of a strange voice. The voice belonged to another fairy. He looked kind of like Sprite, but he was a bit taller. He didn't have any wings. He wore a cap with 2 points. There were bells on his pointy shoes. Pix! Sprite yelled. Pix is my name. Having fun is my game. Pix sang. He danced in the grass. The bells on his shoes jingled. Violet couldn't believe her eyes. 2 fairies in one day? Pix opened his hand. A pile of glittering dust appeared in his palm. Pix will dance, Pix will sing, Pix will trap you in a fairy ring, Pix cried. Pix blew the dust into the air. The dust whirled around. It formed a large circle and then surrounded Violet. Hey, what did you do? Violet asked. She tried to walk through the shimmering ring, but she crashed into an invisible wall. It's no use, little girl, Pix said, grinning. You're trapped in my fairy ring forever. End of chapter 2. We'll see you back here for chapter 3 very soon. Bye-bye.